You're listening to Ask the Expert with Andrew Johnston. Hey everyone, welcome into this kind of short-ish episode, the last episode of 2024. I think this is going to get loaded as a fast fact, but it'll be more, I guess, tip-episode style since I do have some things I want to share. But before I get into that, first things first, I want to thank you so much for supporting me, supporting the show. We put in a lot of effort, a lot of work from lots of different people, KOLs around the industry, into making this show something that you can be proud of. And the fact that you keep listening just says everything. So thank you very much for that. There will be continued improvements and a few more changes coming up for 2025. I will go in a little bit more detail on a later episode. Maybe that's later this week, or maybe I'll do it kind of after the New Year's, just a little bit longer. So be on the lookout for that one. But one of the magical things I think about this show is that we continue to evolve, just like we as hygienists evolve in our profession. You know, we started at Tale of Two Hygienists and launched the first episode, I believe was November 22nd of 2015, which means we are going into our 10th year. We also, this next coming year in 2025, are going to hit episode number 500 for the full length Wednesday episodes. And I believe that's going to air in August. So we have some huge milestones to look forward to, but we just keep evolving. And while I think it's great that the show evolves, I also feel like personally that I need to keep working on myself and working on things that are going to help me just take it to the next level, whether it's going to be, you know, my personal life or my professional life or all these different things. And so, you know, every year I try and write down a couple of things I want to work on for the next year. You can think of these as New Year's resolutions or not. But in this episode, I'm going to share with you the 3 things I'm going to work on for 2025. I'm not saying that you have to work on these things, but I think that sometimes just hearing what other people are doing kind of gives me ideas. And so hopefully this maybe will help you think of something that you want to work on. One of the first things I want to work on is new tech. I have been in a situation where for the bulk of my career, I actually used a program called Axiom. I think it's in a lot of schools. Maybe you've seen that, maybe you haven't. I've also used Dentrix and Eaglesoft, but that's kind of it as far as practice management softwares. I haven't used a whole lot. I think the X-ray tech is kind of, you know, it's Dexis for the most part. The sensors have kind of all been the same. Like I've just kind of been, you know, using the same stuff for a long time. I did just recently start learning about Denticon, which is another software. It's something I need to definitely get better about, and not so much for the charting and the codes and things like that, but more like on maybe the administrative side, the back end of insurances and running reports and things like that. And the reason why I want to get better at this is because I'm just not really sure where life is going to take me. Maybe if I'm going to be a temp in an office, maybe in the future, then I don't want to be the person that's the burden to the office when I'm just trying to help them out. I think I get a lot of anxiety about that. And then actually just last week, I was talking with Teresa Duncan, who many of you know from earlier episodes, and she was telling me about how she was integrating AI into some of her work. And I think for me, when I think of AI, I'm like, oh, that's ChatGPT. We've been talking about ChatGPT for a really long time. If the college students are writing a paper, they usually use that kind of stuff. In dentistry, we've had episodes with Bola AI. We've also had some tech that does kind of a check on the x-rays or some other diagnostic tools to make sure that we are aligned with what is the standard of care, the right thing to do. It's more objective opinions, but that's not what Teresa's doing. She's doing things that are at the next level. She's actually learning how to guide the AI, how to input those prompts to get it to do exactly what she wants. And so it's a lot of like calibration. She's looking at tools that can use her voice, things that we knew that podcasting was working on, but she is like the next level. No one in dentistry is doing it the way she's doing it, from what I understand. I mean, at least I've never heard of it. And seeing people like Teresa that are just doing so much more than I am as far as tech goes makes me want to get better, because there's just new frontiers, new lands that I need to explore, and I want to just try and keep working on it. The next thing I want to work on is giving back. I think it's been documented. I think most of you know how important it is to me that I give back. And I do that mainly through international dental trips. I started one last year that goes to the Philippines. But I think what I want to work on for 2025 is actually locally a little bit more. We've been toying around with the idea of starting a study club down in St. Pete, which is not that far from Tampa, Florida. And while that may seem kind of like, well, that's not really giving back, Andrew, I think that's because I really don't know how to give back yet in the way that I want to. I think I need to like kind of crowdsource these ideas. And by having a study club then maybe that's the jumping off point. Maybe it's just making friends and connections locally, and together we can work on putting something together. So whether that's going to be a free dental day or a sealant day or something for kids, something that all of us want to work on together, then that's something that we can kind of create together. Or maybe they're already doing it, I just don't know about it, and I can just go help out. So that's kind of where my mind is as far as like giving back. I think it's going to be a multi-step process. But the good news is I'm not going to stop doing the international trips either. That's definitely something that fills my cup. It is a little bit of a shameless plug, but if anyone ever wanted to join me on a dental mission trip to the Philippines, you can head to the website. It's philippinesdentaltrip.com, or you can also email me, andrew@atala2hygienist.com, and we can talk about it. The last thing that I wanted to work on for 2025, it's just kind of broad and not really defined, but it's meeting new people and making new connections. And I kind of think that sounds... I don't know why it sounds really weird saying it out loud, but like internally it feels really important to me. I was watching a documentary on Netflix called Enigma, which is about Aaron Rodgers. He's a football star. And one of the interesting takeaways from me was that he was talking about how all he wanted to do was just play football. He wanted to, be the best quarterback that has fun playing the game. He didn't become a quarterback because he wanted to be famous. That happens, obviously, if you make it to a certain level, but he just wanted to play because he loved playing and he wanted to be the best that there ever was. Surprisingly, though, as you get to kind of hear from him, he talks about how much of an introvert he is and how some of the things that he does, which kind of seem a little bit crazy, in a weird way, also spoke to me. I also feel like I'm very introverted, and I think a lot of people think that I'm an extrovert, which makes it difficult, I think, for me, because they want me to have a certain energy that I just don't naturally have. Making and keeping connections can be very difficult for me. And I think I just need to be better about this. And so one of the things I want to work on is rekindling older relationships that maybe I've let go stale. But then also, just making new connections, meeting new people. It's not really for the business side of it. However, I do think that part of the upsides of all of this, because the only downside I can think of is really just being a little bit more emotionally exhausted on the occasion. But one of the upsides is, I will have more options for content for you all. So I think that it's really good. But I also think that I'm a type of person that when I hear good ideas or we talk about dentistry with other people, that I get even more excited about the job and the career and the role. And I think that that's going to be huge for me. So really, I just have to work on like my attitude and have a better attitude about trying to, make friends and force myself to be a little bit better. I guess by the end of 2025, I hope I can look back and just see the growth, see the opportunities that I've been able to, maybe help other people. Hopefully your patients will all benefit by all the lessons that I'm learning, as well as I try and share them on the podcast, on future episodes, and maybe even bring on a whole group of new guests that we haven't heard from before. So lots of opportunity here for personal growth. Also, I think career growth. But that's it. That's my plan. So thank you again for all of your support. Thank you for a great 2024, and we will see you in 2025. Thank you for listening to Fast Facts Ask the Expert. If you have a topic you'd like one of our experts to answer, simply email me, andrew@atala2hygienist.com, and we will get it on the air as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.